Hey, everybody, welcome. If it's a few minutes past 11 o'clock on Saturday, it is your beautiful man here, the voice in English for Catalunya Radio and RCE 106.9 up here. Hey, babe, what's up? It's the Club with Lucas here. It's 11:07 on the clock, and what are you doing? You were just listening to the beautiful sounds of one of my favorite, he's definitely my favorite drum and bass and jungle DJ, LTJ Bukem. And today we're gonna get you a little cozy, everybody. Welcome back home, everyone. Gather around your fire or whatever it is that you're lighting up, because children, you are mine for the next 2 hours, in fact, for our year-end finale brunch extravaganza with yours truly, as always, on a Saturday. You know to tune in on 106.9 on RCE.cat or with your peepholes at YouTube at RCE 106.9 FM as well. And we're celebrating today with a special homie from another momie who just happens to be coming here from down under, Mr. Jack Sparrow. In fact, he's been here for a while now, and for the last few years he's launched an online web-a-view series, that's what I'm calling it, on IG, called StayWeird.tv. It's getting thousands of views, thousands of viewers as well, and followers, and Sir Jack Sparrow will be joining us in just a bit. He had a little bit of work to finish up today at the 11 o'clock hour, and we'd be popping in the studio to talk to us about that, as well as some of the people that he's interviewed. In fact, he's actually interviewed people that we just had here on the show, and we'll be having again Mr. Barry Brandon after the new year as well. Shout out to everybody that is doing all the good stuff for all the good people and communities out here, especially those who are on the margins of society, because the ish is about to get real starting at the end of January. We'll talk about that later. But we're also going to be popping off on the second hour with beautiful people. My boy Yodé Aluwaju is going to actually be joining us from the Velvet Room Barcelona, the finest champagne, jazz, R&B, and soul lounge that we have in the city. It truly is one of the best, if not the best, and my favorite, definitely. And supporters of our show, that is in Carrer Aviación number 9, and they're kicking off with a huge New Year's Eve. Oh my God. And where am I from? New Year's Eve bash on the 31st, as well as my sister from another Mr. Lady Towy Vaughn's designer and just woman extraordinaire is going to be joining us together. So we're going to be popping up some bubbly for that, if not a couple of bubbles. Now remember, your go-to people for every Saturday morning is going to be me, and we're going to be wrapping up our lovely 5th season today. So I'm happy to be having all these beautiful people joining us to do that, because we have so much lined up for 2025 as well. Now, one of the things we're going to be doing as well in 2025, me and my beautiful sister, also from another Mr. Lady Kelly Ellis, shout out in California and Los Angeles, keeping it real with her family. Love you, my love. We launched our new podcast just a couple of months ago. In fact, about like 7 or 8 weeks ago. And you can get that where every good podcast is streamed. That is on Spotify, that is in Apple, that is on YouTube. And of course, we're going to be giving that up to you every other Saturday as well, when we have new interviews with our beautiful guests from around the world. That show is called Design Meets Life Podcast. And you can follow us at Instagram and all the good places such as, and as I mentioned, Spotify and Apple as well. Now, I also want you to remember, my beautiful people, get all the goodness that we're going to be serving up over this year and over the next year to come as well at the Club with Lucas on Instagram. We're still on at the Club W Lucas for now on Twitter, but we'll be moving to Blue Sky as of the new year, and really looking forward to that, because bye! You can also catch us at, as I mentioned before, RCE 106.9 FM. To catch us on YouTube with your peepholes in RCE.cat or 106.9 FM around Catalunya. Now, we have so much to get to. I'm not going to be doing things as we usually have done before. We always do these personal faves of the year end for wrap up of music and things like that. We're not doing it. Oh, hi. This year we're going to be doing music that me and my boy Jack and my boy Yodé and my lady Towy want to do. So we're going to be doing our faves this year, and you're going to love it. You're going to sit there and drink your coffee, and you're going to love it, okay? Now, this first one is actually by another band that's hailing from a similar sound as what we just kicked off with Mr. Bukem. But this is 808 State. I want to say Goldie got his start with 808 State, Bjork's first baby daddy. And this is a song from their 1990 record, and this is called Lift. I want to lift you guys up because we've got a lot of news and things to go through over the 2024 year in review right now in English, right here on Catalunya Radio, RCE 106.9 FM. Honestly, this kind of stuff, especially at the end of the year and the kind of holidays that I've had, just takes me back to a wonderful time when things were simpler in life. That was 808 State, and that was just after 1989. In fact, that song is now almost 35 years old. Don't you feel young, fresh, youthful? Mom. I hope everyone's had a beautiful holiday. I know for many of us it was an interesting factor because there was the great convergence. It felt like a moment from the dark crystal. I was telling my beautiful Jewish group of lovely people, shout out to my Hanukkah happy people and my beautiful loves who are celebrating Kwanzaa, especially for my Africans. The 25th converged for the first time in, I want to say, my lifetime, where we had Christmas Day, the commencement of Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa, as we say in New York City, Christmaka Kwanzaa, Happy Christmaka Kwanzaa. And it was beautiful. I did not stop until yesterday afternoon. And child, the 23rd evening dinner, 24th was breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 25 was a lunch and a dinner, 26th was all day vegging out but eating too much. Shout out Maxwell King and eUnity. If you need your services for high corporate and pretty much high corporate and education services for hirees, your headhunter to go to is eUnity, and his name is Maxwell King. Do look him up. And Lord Almighty, I have been eating my weight in cheese and bread products. So we're going to take it down a little bit of a notch. I have not been drinking a lot, but we're going to do some in a little bit. And in fact, it might take everybody just a little bit of it would behoove you, everyone who's about to listen to the news roundup that we're going to do a little bit of right now, to possibly, and I'm not kidding, to possibly take a drink of something. I'm taking a drink of caramel macchiato, and that's why I'm drinking, because Lord knows I need a Starbucks moment. I don't do this often, but it's happening. Oh, it's happening today. Because let's talk about what's been going on this year. This year has been mighty real. I think we can all agree that this year has been mighty real. And some of the stuff that really commenced the year was not necessarily what we thought it was going to be like. I certainly think that my year 2024, though challenging for certain health aspects of family members and mascotas, my pets, has been much, much better than 2023. Lord knows. However, if we look at the headlines of our beautiful country, El País, things are a little bit in somewhat of a tit-for-tat negationist disarray. For example, going to the news of today, it is a very strange dichotomy, and I want to do a little bit of history because, I'm a history nerd, and that's what we do up in here. The leader of the Popular Party, what's his name? Feixó is his last name, whatever. I say it the fake Gallego way that I do. Feixó has actually said that he is wanting to benefit and work with Junts per Catalunya, the Independence Party of this region, the one who has started the modern Independence Party, which has nothing to do with Francesc Macià or Lluís Companys. Let me reiterate that shit, okay? Just so people don't know, now you know. Okay. But to see the leader of a quasi-fascist movement whose political party literally spawned an autocratic-leaning Vox Partido in this country, and, of course, the modern incarnation of Junts per Cat has also spawned its own appropriate drama going, doing an anti-constitutional thing, as was ruled back in the day. We won't get into that because that also happened under the Rajoy administration, and he can go F himself as well. But it's interesting to see the rather hyperbolic nature that Mr. Albert Núñez Feixó is saying when he is throwing different flourishing words of alliances and parliamentary alliances between El PP and Junts per Cat. Now, I want to talk about something because most people don't know this history. Junts per Cat comes from a party that was originally PDeCAT before that, and before that it was a split off between two other versions. There was Convergencia and there was Unió. They became one, CU, back in the day, and I'm talking about 15 years ago, and they kept splitting up. Let me ask you something. If you went to a restaurant that changed owners and names 5 times over 15 years, would you think twice? I would. Anyway, that's another thing for another story. But the money that came to form parties that were headed by Jordi Pujol actually came from his great-great-grandparents who took over the slave trade. Listen to me well, motherfuckers, and believe me later. They took over the slave trade of England in 1830, him and the great-great-grandfather of another guy that we all know named Artur Mas. And they brought the entire slave trade of England, where? To Barca motherfucking Lona in 1830. And from 1830 to almost 1900, and I'm not kidding, look it up, bitches, 7 decades, they used black labor and Latino labor to build what we were calling then ensanche, but is really Eixample all the way up to where I live, above Diagonal, for free slave trade. All of the Catalan banks that we know today, especially some of them called La Caja de Ahorros y Mercantil de Algo, no sé, that was the original name of La Caixa Pensiones, Caixa Bank. The Mercantil, just so you know, were people, black people and Latino people who were building all of this for free, and that is where Catalan bourgeoisie money comes from. It comes from the back of slaves. In fact, Barcelona province in Catalonia was the last place in all of freaking Europe who was using slave labor until 1900. I just want people to know that. Now, if you didn't know that, look it up, please, because TV3 did a documentary that they showed one time at midnight about a year and a half ago because they didn't want anybody to watch it. But it's true, people. The Guardian has also done incredible research with the BBC on this very topic as well, of the slave labor that built modern Catalonia's bourgeoisie money. Now, that political party, formed by Jordi Pujol, who used slave labor to now then run a wannabe independence movement under the guise of Carles Puigdemont, they have voted with PP laws since 1979, and all of their incarnations of political parties, over 75% of the time. And in fact, in some years, 100% of the time, they have voted every single law that the PP has voted for. This is the same political party whose original name was Alianza Popular, that was formed under Fraga, who is the right-hand man to Franco. He formed this political party in 1978 to take over from the Falange and make it a legitimate political party. And your Catalan independence leader, Jordi Pujol, has been voting with the same people that killed scores and scores of thousands of Catalans under the name of fascism, and he votes with that party. And so I want you to know, when you're voting for Junts pel Cat, my beautiful Catalan brothers and sisters, you are also voting for PP and Vox and the mandates that they handle. And it's very rich to hear words from this piece of crap, Alberto Núñez Feixó, saying what he's saying, that he loves, he wants the support and wants to work with Junts pel Cat, and they're going along with it. And then at the end saying, oh, but we need to arrest Carles Puigdemont. It is a mind shit of grand proportions, but yet it is not to be, it's not something that's never going to happen from the right, because they always stick together, my dears. Now, I want to get to some news that's going to affect us starting in the new year, because, Lord mercy, they're raising the prices of the Metro and the TMB here. What are we going to do, children of the corn? Don't worry, it's not going up too much. It's still a little bit more for one ride than it is in New York City, but meh, who's counting? The TCWL, for those of us who use it and utilize it, if you're in the first zone, it's going to go up from 21.35 for your rechargeable monthly card to 22 euros. It's incredible. Okay, it is incredible. The TCWL is going to stay at 44, which, children of the corn, I just want to say this. Screw the TCWL and just get yourselves a TCWL, because it's half the price. Okay? Honestly, I don't know what they're trying to do. Gyp the children because they give you a carnet Jove, and then they gyp the children for twice the price when you can get a TCWL to do the same thing. My university, my batch, my ESO students who are over 16, 18, 14 rather. Get yourselves a TCWL, okay? Now, the other prices are going to be more moderated, and I just want to say thank you to the Generalitat de Catalunya and our heads in Moncloa for keeping these prices low. I don't know if anybody else remembers, but just a year or two ago, every time you had to pay for a tema mensual, it was almost 60 euros. It is 22 euros right now. So power to the people, but that effect will be taking place immediately after January 1st. So please be aware of that. Obviously, if you have cards that go into that, it's going to, of course, be, honored. Nothing to worry about, stuff like that. Now, moving on to a little bit of news because, I'm going to give it to you. We have a lot that we want to talk about in regards to the U.S. elections. But because we have a beautiful brother from down under who's going to be joining us in about anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, we're not going to get into all that because I have my sister from another mister and my brother from another mother coming in. Now, one is an African-American queen, one is an Afro-Brit king. And they really do mandate a lot of the beautiful stuff that goes on in regards to jazz and R&B and champagne lounges here in the city. Of course, that's the Velvet Room Barcelona, and we will get to that in a little bit, but I really want to talk about that with them. The other thing I want to mention, though, that has been going on all year and has been continued to be going on since October 6th of 2023 is the ongoing Israel-Palestine war. Obviously, there has been a massive destruction of everything that was known as Gaza has been plowed down. It is horrifying. There have been several talks and almost, blue balls moments of getting some kind of perfect ceasefire to happen. It has not happened. As we know, over the last week and a half, the fall of the Assad regime in Syria has been annihilated. Rebel forces have taken over the parliament of Syria and the government as well. And Assad and his British-educated and raised wife have moved, and I mean that by English, British, London, darling, have been moved to Russia to hide out like the little bitches that they are. And that is the truth of what's going on right down in that moment. However, this does not stop the drama that is happening between Israel and Lebanon. And I need to make mention of hopefully soon to be BAFTA and Academy Award winning, nominated but hopefully winning film called The BB Files. Los Archivos de Netanyahu, it's called. If you have some of the streaming websites from the States, I believe it has just been released on that as of last week. As of last weekend as well, Film In, our beautiful Catalan film app. And I also want to give a mad shout out to those boys because they were the original film app in the freaking world almost 12 years ago. They started Film In app. If you want to support local, think global, but support local, Film In is without a doubt the greatest collection of cinema that you will find on an app. Full stop. Okay, and they have just released the BB Files, which is up for all manner of possible nominations, and it is an incredible breakdown of how Netanyahu got Bibi Netanyahu of Israel, and he can go screw off as soon as possible, how he got involved in politics because of his brother, who actually was seen as a hero, and was a bit of a hero as well, who was killed in when they ransacked and stormed some people who had been kidnapped in the 70s. And this documentary, full stop, Los Archivos de Netanyahu, for those of us in Spain, the BB Files, for those of you who have apps, and the Film In app as well. That is something that needs to be looked into. Of course, we'll have a little bit of a smidge of that with my people when they come in for the second hour. I also am going to be breaking down some ish with my girl Towy about the Puff Diddy trials, what's going on in his current incarceration, everything that's been denied by him, and the fact that Jay-Z, and I want to make mention that my bitch ass was the first one to point this out over a year ago. I said last year going into 24, I do not see long horizons for Puff Daddy and Beyonce. And the reason why I said that is because they were already bubbling since 2022. Actually, there's already been drama bubbling. And if anybody remembers the Becky with the good hair and the fight with Solange in a lift with Jay-Z, some shit's been blowing up. Now, was that arranged marriage for entertainment purposes? Of course not. It certainly wasn't Lavender. Look it up. But we've got a lot to do because the judge in the trial that's overseeing the trial in New York City of a 13-year-old girl who, well, she's in her 30s now, but she was claimed at 13 to have been raped by Jay-Z and Puff Daddy with another female celebrity looking on, has been allowed to continue. We're going to be talking a lot about that, as well as my elder siblings' look at the takeover of artificial intelligence. Because one thing that came to notice with one of my beautiful artist friends, Aaron Rockman, my brother, thank you so much for that lovely, lovely lunch. We had a Christmas lunch. For those of us who have some Jewish roots, we often celebrate Jewish Christmas on Christmas Eve, where we go gather around in our favorite Chinese restaurants and pig out. But our favorite Chinese restaurant was closed on Christmas Eve, so we did it on Christmas Day. And I want to give a mad shout out of love to him and Mark, beautiful husbands, and my beautiful daddy, Ernesto Cavazos. But we've got so much to talk about the takeover of AI. One of the things that came up, and we're going to jump into a song right now so I can shut the hell up. But one of the things that came up was that AI is specifically and strategically being programmed to actually cause damage, mental and emotional damage to people. There was a person who was utilizing this, and this came off of a report from the AP, and he was flustered about something that was not going well in his life, and he asked artificial intelligence what he should do, and artificial intelligence told him, and this just happened last month, that he should annihilate himself and commit suicide. This is just one of many reports of this. I should not smile, that is coming out about that. And so when we look at that, the ability of what AI can do and the fragility of so many people who do not have good emotional health, who are not mentally stable, who are not spiritually grounded, who are not working on their inner child. Most people, especially men, do not do that shit. That can affect somebody. And a few of them did take their lives. So this is some real stuff. We're going to be talking about a lot more about that when we get back with my girl, Towy, and Sir Yodé of the Velvet Room Barcelona. But right now we got a little bit of money that we're going to serve up. I hope we're going to be sending you manifestations of money. But we got a classic jam from the 90s. This is the Young Disciples. They actually only had this one big hit. They had other hits on the rap charts back in the day. But this was their massive mid-90s smash. Apparently nothing, because Lord knows we're apparently learning nothing, and so many people aren't. And we'll be back in 4 minutes, hopefully with Jack Sparrow or me going on a spiel before Jack arrives from Stay Weird TV. We'll be right back, kids.
conscious observer trying to find a place on earth where they heed the signs. Beware of conflicts that ruin mankind. If you want things a more better, withstand the tides of the bad weather. The struggle thrives when we all gather down at the bank of the Soul River. Yeah. Apparently. Apparently.
Jesus do? What would Jesus do? You know, it's only his birthday, guys. He's the reason for the freaking season. Apparently nothing. Jesus would do apparently nothing. But you know what? Apparently something has happened up. Because as I've been speaking and you've been jamming, Children of the Corn, Jack Sparrow has joined us. Is that a real last name, my brother? And Shay, welcome to the club. Lounging out for the end of 2024. Mr. Sparrow of StayWeird.tv.
What's good?
Which you can follow that on Instagram right now, folks.
Yeah.
And you're going to see me there like in 2025, guys. Mr. Sparrow, thank you so much for joining.
Sparrow is definitely not my real last name, but I love it. It sounds good, doesn't it?
But why does it come off as... Did you put that in there?
Yeah, I did put that in there.
Okay, because I'm calling him Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
And the thing is, my Children of the Corn, we had 4 guests. One could not make it. It's a musician again. And you already know with musicians late at night. But 3 people lined up. And I told all of them to show up at the same time. And at the same time that I'm promoting my brother coming at 11 o'clock. So thank you so much for being here. And he did not want any butter croissant, but I did bring butter croissant for him and everybody. Mate, what brought you to Barcelona in the first place?
I was just traveling. Yeah.
A little closer.
I was just traveling. Hadn't been to Europe. Ended up in Portugal.
Because where are you from originally? Man?
Australia. Yeah. A little tiny town in Australia.
Is it?
Yes. Emerald, it's called.
Emerald.
Yes.
So it's got a normal, normal. I don't want to say that. Fuck normal. But a natural name. Like there's some Walla Walla.
There's a lot of strange names in Australia.
What is the strangest name for you from Australia?
I don't know. Wollongabba.
What?
Kubapedi. Wollongabba.
Kubapedi?
Yeah, Kubapedi.
Are these tribal names?
Ayers Rock. Yeah, a lot of them come from Aboriginal origin. You know?
Okay.
Yes.
Why Barcelona? Because you have terrible weather in Australia and terrible cities. Why Barcelona?
Yeah, I'd quit my job as a surveyor, and then I was pursuing like a content creation career, whatever. Didn't really know I was traveling. Yeah, and Barcelona stood out. That was 2 years ago it was, and I just kept traveling, but it always remained in my head.
Now, Stay Weird, though, didn't just start here. It
started back in the day. It started back in Australia.
I want to talk about what was the origins of that. Can you, first of all, explain what StayWeird.tv is? Please?
So, it's StayWeird.tv. That was the only tag that was available, but it seems to fit quite well, you know?
Yeah.
And Stay Weird is just all about, you know, being your authentic self, and letting everyone do the same. Stay weird, stay fucking weird, be you, enjoy your life, and live your life. You know, that's what it's all about.
Now, being real for you, what does that include for Jack?
Pursuing my dreams, stepping out of my comfort zone.
Why would you want to do that?
I don't know. Why would you? You know, get uncomfortable, to stretch, to grow as a person, to live authentically. Yeah.
Well, what pushed you to that? Because most, gentlemen are not pursuing that in a daily grind.
I don't know. I just had the internal feeling. Yeah. Always wanted to travel, do something creative, and then Stay Weird's a long story. It spawned from my little brother Toby, who's just a fucking legend. Very, very unique person. Very unique personality on him. Very, very genuine, and I always looked up to him in that regard. But there was, as it is in many stories, there's a lot of chaos in the beginning. There was lots of drug problem, blah, blah, blah. And it all kind of came tumbling down. And my parents sent my brother out to this property to work on, a cattle property to work on. He was out there by himself, just working, suffering in solitude, as you do. And he drew this image, Stay Weird, it said. And I didn't know that my brother had much artistic talent, but this was just an amazing drawing, at least I think it was. And I asked him, like, man, where did you get this picture from? And he said he drew it. And I was like, fuck off. And he's like, no, I did. And so that idea kind of stuck in my head. And I always used to, try very hard to fit in. Used to be very insecure about just being myself. And, fitting in was just tried many things that were not for me. And I went traveling, and this Stay Weird idea just stayed in my head. And as I traveled more, I really developed a love for people and culture of all backgrounds, and just developed a lot of empathy for people as well,
Where were you traveling?
At first, I went to Latin America.
With my people, what did you visit in Latin America, sir?
At first, I was in Brazil. I went to Brazil first of all. Yes. I had a couple of friends who were going to Mexico. The travel idea never really interested me at all. I was just, doing what my friends were doing. They were all going to Canada. So I'm like, I'm going to go to Canada. That was the original idea.
Because everyone speaks English there, right?
Yeah, and everyone's going to Canada. My friends were going to Canada, so I'm going to Canada, And then I had 2 friends.
All of them in the crowd.
Exactly, mate, exactly. Why the fuck would I want to go anywhere else? Why would I want to meet any new people, That just never, ever occurred to me.
Wow.
And now it's all I think about. But yeah, I had a couple mates went to Mexico, and they're like, come to Latin America. And I'm like, cool. Saw Carnival was on, so I'm like, I'm going to Brazil. They're like, sweet, we'll come. And then...
Coming from a surveyor's background to
Yes.
that. And then pursuing the fact that you didn't want to be necessarily following the crowd. So a lot of that comes from something, though. It does, definitely you want to be experiencing who you are, getting out of your comfort zone. But most guys, I would say, as a man, it's very easy for a guy to feign what he is, and what he is. And yeah, bro, okay, all that farce. But traveling, do you think traveling and getting out of that comfort zone of Australia and the kangaroo pouch helped you?
Yeah, 100%. Meeting people from different backgrounds and
Learning Spanish, I guess.
learning Spanish too, learning some Portuguese as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And exactamente, hay que hablar, ¿no?
Okay. Did you learn any Portuguese as well?
Yeah, eu falo português também.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That just made him a little bit hotter, you guys. All right. You know what? One of the things that we always ask our beautiful guests to do is also provide some music. And since we're speaking of something in the Portuguese language, this the first one that I want to throw on is something that you brought called Até Quando by Gabriel O Pensador. What a name, too.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Why this one, Até Quando?
Man, this is a song I just always listen to when I'm psyched up, or I feel like I'm living well. Maybe I've taken some risks. Yeah, exactly. It's like, até quando você vai lembrar? Get you pumped up.
So something that pumps you up. Now, this is Brazilian or is it Portuguese?
This is Brazilian.
It's brasileiro, no?
Yes, it's brasileiro.
Yeah. Remember, folks, you can catch the jams right now live on rce.cat and with your peep holes on 106.9 FM on YouTube. And 106.9 FM all over the radio, or you can get it on Catalunya. Hello, this is Até Quando by Gabriel O Pensador. We got a lot more to talk to with Mr. Jack of StayWeird.tv. We'll be right back.
Não adianta olhar pro céu com muita fé e pouca luta. Levanta aí que você tem muito protesto pra fazer, muita greve, você pode, você deve, pode crer. Não adianta olhar pro chão, virar a cara pra não ver. Se liga aí que te botaram numa cruz só porque Jesus sofreu, não quer dizer que você tenha que sofrer. Até quando você vai ficar usando rédea, rindo da própria tragédia? Até quando você vai ficar usando rédea, pobre, rico, classe média? Até quando você vai levar cascudo mudo? Muda essa postura. Até quando você vai ficando mudo? Muda que o medo é um modo de fazer censura. Até quando você vai levando? Até quando vai ficar sem fazer nada? Até quando você vai levando? Até quando vai ser saco de pancada? Até quando você vai levando? Até quando vai ficar sem fazer nada? Até quando você vai levando? Até quando vai ser saco de pancada? Você tenta ser feliz, não vê que é deprimente. Seu filho sem escola, seu velho tá sem dente. Você tenta ser contente, não vê que é revoltante. Você tá sem emprego, sua filha tá gestante. Você se faz de surdo, não vê que é absurdo. Você que é inocente, foi preso em flagrante. É tudo flagrante. É tudo flagrante. Até quando você vai levando? Até quando vai ficar sem fazer nada? Até quando você vai levando? Até quando vai ser saco de pancada? Até quando você vai levando? Até quando vai ficar sem fazer nada? Até quando você vai levando? Até quando vai ser saco de pancada? A polícia matou um estudante, falou que era bandido, chamou de traficante. A justiça prendeu o pé rapado, soltou o deputado e absolveu os PMs de vigário. Até quando você vai levando? Até quando vai ficar sem fazer nada? Até quando você vai levando? Até quando vai ser saco de pancada? Até quando você vai levando? Até quando vai ficar sem fazer nada? Até quando você vai levando? Até quando vai ser saco de pancada? A polícia só existe pra manter você na lei. Lei do silêncio, lei do mais fraco. Ou a aceita ser um saco de pancada ou vai pro saco. A programação existe pra manter você na frente da TV, que é pra te entreter, que é pra você não ver que o programado é você. Acordo, tenho trabalho, procuro trabalho, quero trabalhar. O cara me pede diploma, não tenho diploma, não pude estudar. E querem que eu seja educado, plano e arrumado, que eu saiba falar. Aquilo que o mundo me pede, não é o que o mundo me dá. Consigo emprego, começo emprego e mato de tanto ralar. Acordo pensando nisso, sempre tempo pra raciocinar. Não peço arrego, agora que eu chamo seu filho no mesmo lugar. Brincando que o filho me pede, não tenho dinheiro pra dar. Escola, esmola, favela, cadeia. Sem terra, em terra. Sem renda, se renda. Não, não, até quando você vai levando? Porrada, porrada. Até quando vai ficar sem fazer nada? Até quando você vai levando? Porrada, porrada. Até quando vai ser saco de pancada? Até quando você vai levando? Porrada, porrada. Até quando vai ficar sem fazer nada? Até quando você vai levando? Porrada, porrada. Até quando vai ser saco de pancada? Muda, que quando a gente muda, o mundo muda com a gente. A gente muda o mundo na mudança da mente. E quando a mente muda, a gente anda pra frente. E quando a gente manda, ninguém manda na gente. Na mudança de atitude, não há mal que não se mude, nem doença sem cura. Na mudança de postura, a gente fica mais seguro. Na mudança do presente, a gente molda o futuro. Até quando você vai levando porrada? Até quando vai ficar sem fazer nada? Até quando você vai ficar de saco de pancada? Até quando você vai levando?
All right, now you see how it picked up with the hardest of bossa nova and turned into a rock track. Love it. That was Ate Cuando by Gabrielo Pensador. And let's get to some of the other questions about Stay Weird TV, because as you mentioned, you started that in as you were traveling, I guess, but also in Australia, right?
Yeah, it was kind of just floating around. You know, there wasn't too much intention or effort put into it around in the early years. Yeah,
Right.
It was just the idea. I was like, man, this could be something. This is sick. But I was just doing other things, whatnot. Then I went back to Australia during COVID, and I started working as a surveyor again. And that's when I was like, oh, this is, you know, yeah. There was like a few, you know, pushes from the universe, from God, and it was like, oh, I have to.
Are you a believer?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have
yeah.
you always been?
No. I think it's a relationship you develop over time. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of relationship you develop over time, hey, why create and produce and do these little videos? Why come up to people on the street? Many of them, I'm sure, are surprised and thinking,
Yeah, what do you want?
Boy doing
What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Quieres? You know, that's a strong response from the Catalans, from the Spanish. Yeah, quieres? You know, but it's always fun to try and turn them around. You know, sway them. I enjoy it a lot.
You're an amiable man, good-looking chap.
Yeah.
It's easy to get them to hopefully unwind. I see you get very loosey-goosey to help people unwind a bit.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
if you hit them on the Ramblas, which
Yes.
is something I've noticed. But what is it that you want to get from these interesting little vignette of interviews that you get? That's the thing that hits me.
Yeah, I want to get them to express themselves. You know, to get them to express something unique, maybe unique perspective, maybe perspective that everyone's heard before, but it's just a good to be reinforced. You know, and I want to get them to smile, also to have some fun, to enjoy their lives, to step out of their comfort zone, to do something interesting. You know, like if you're here in Barcelona and some random guy approaches you on the street with a camera, it's like, why the fuck not? In my head, it's like, that's a yes, like yes, let's go, like fuck yeah, let's have some fun, you know. And a lot of people, I think, everyone's like, oh no, you know, like no, I've got to go eat. I'm like, it'll take 2 minutes, like let's freaking make a memory. You know?
A lot of them, I feel, throw out at the end. I got an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah, definitely.
For where we are.
100%.
What we've
100%. Oh,
Lord. Oh, see, that was Jesus telling you for an attitude of gratitude. That's going on Instagram, motherfuckers. Okay. No, because that was Jesus talking about y'all motherfuckers need Jesus in your life. Okay, I'm going to throw up that reason for the season again. But
no, like you're right. Like a lot of people, it brightens people's days. You know, they always walk away smiling. You know, even if at first they're saying no, I'm always kind of like push a bit more. I'm like, no, let's fucking do it. You know,
I've taken this year, I'm going to be doing a lot more in 2025, to where I will go up as the weird person I am and say, your hair smells nice. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, but
that's off something. That's off something. Where he says that. They're like approaching people on the streets.
No, it's also a joke, which was, can I tell this? I'm going to do it. What's grosser than gross?
No idea.
And now I'm going to say the more politically correct word. When a little person tells you, your hair smells nice. It's your pubic hair. Now, that was not funny.
There's crickets in this room.
But when you go up to somebody and compliment them in a non-weird way, saying something like, I
love what you're wearing. Yeah,
you look incredible.
Yeah.
What is that? Your style looks fabulous.
Yeah.
Man, what is
Sweet.
that cologne you're wearing?
Yeah,
I do it mostly to gentlemen, more to women. Making somebody feel good. There was somebody that you mentioned just now in the song. You said, what is it like to approach people in New York City? And there's a girl who's doing something similar up to you. And it's different with her because she's a woman. And she'll go up to women and she'll say, can I ask you a quick question? Do you have a moment? And she'll say, yeah. Like, what is it like to be so beautiful? And when you turn people on an axis to where they can actually think and formulate and think about themselves, because sometimes we live our lives going, doing. We don't think about what we're going through as well. Have you ever made somebody break down?
Oh, yeah. It's like you definitely change people's days, you know? You definitely make people feel good, which in turn makes you feel incredible as well. Yeah. Like, even if you're just walking down the street, everyone is a challenge. Just like say, you look beautiful, just to some stranger, you know, it'll make you feel great.
Have you had anybody shed a tear or anything?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And they start talking about their families and like what they want in life and what would make them feel good, you know.
How do you keep a straight face?
Sometimes I think I laugh too much if we're on a funny topic, and I'm like, because I'm quite, humor is a good medicine, you know. So sometimes I'm like, oh no, this is
you have a very jovial laugh.
This is a serious chat, Jack. So it's
have you ever got teary eyed hearing?
Yeah, definitely. I get into it as well, and then a second time later when you're editing the videos, it's like you get inspired again. I'm like, fuck, this is so good. Like I love it. You know, I love it so much. Yeah.
So what I'm getting from you is you obviously. And now you're racking up like 5,000 people following you. You obviously have a love for people. Have you always been that way?
No, definitely not. I was very judgmental. Yeah, very, very judgmental. But apart from that, I was just like...
Was that learned behavior?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I was just, you know, there was lots of toxic masculinity growing up, you know. And,
no! What?
In Australia, who would have thought, right?
Never!
And... yeah, I was just also just figuring out myself, you know. It's like you can't really express much love or good sentiment to other people if you haven't got it going on inside, you know. So it's...
Can you say that again, please?
It's difficult to express love and good sentiment to people outside of you if you haven't got it going on inside.
And that is a key factor. Do you feel, and I wonder with some of the things that you've been through as well, and the interviews and stuff you've done over the last few years, do you feel that is often more applicable to where they express and show those feelings and that love from women more than our men?
No.
Okay.
No. And another question someone's asked me before is like, how often do you get people that aren't unique, that aren't like authentic, you know? And I think majority of the time, because you would think like a lot of people try to put on a show for the camera and things like this, but after a quick conversation, I think 99% of people are express themselves quite authentically.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a beautiful thing.
You keep mentioning you've mentioned it thrice now, getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That was when I graduated, I remember there was a Madonna album I mentioned to you, and one of the things that she said in there is, I said, you are never going to get anywhere until you learn to get the fuck out of your comfort zone. So start doing it. And I was knee-high to a chicken. What was your comfort zone that you had to break through?
Man, it was massive. Like this has just been such a massive thing for me. Doing the solo travel was on, and just, you know, I had a very soft upbringing, you know.
In which manner, soft?
Well, not soft. I should say I had a very lovely, lovely upbringing, you know, like beautiful family, and just life was very easy, you know. So then graduating from school and going out into the real world, I got shocked quite easily by things that I think, you know, shouldn't really knock you around too much, you know. And so,
was there anything in particular that surprised you as a 21-year-old whippersnapper?
Yeah, just emotional, a big fallout with some friends, and the emotional toll that took on me. And I was obviously engrossed in some, you know, partying and drug taking, and that was I was not in a healthy space, you know.
Okay.
So
that was your comfort zone.
Yeah, well, that's how I got out of my comfort zone at first, drinking and partying, and it felt like it got me to express myself more, and then it was kind of like a double-edged sword, and it flipped around, and I needed to develop that confidence on my own, you know, and it's been a beautiful journey doing that, and realizing that I don't need any of this other crap to just be myself, you know. Yeah.
Testify. See, we always take you to church, and it's Saturday. Hey, Shabbat. Let's talk about something. We're going to do a little bit of another song by Gizmo Varillas, which is called El Dorado. The beat, yo. The beat.
This is the one that showed me show a bit of love or something. Did I send through?
Yeah, you sent this one too. You said El Dorado by Gizmo Varillas.
That's the name of the album, I think, El Dorado. The name of the song's like...
Did I screw that up too?
But
the artist name is Gizmo Varillas.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back because I have a couple more questions before we jump out of here. And
let's go.
We'll be right back in 2 minutes. It's a little short dated, kids.
Nobody knows to move away.
Yeah, now that was the thing, folks. Excuse me, that was Gizmo Varillas off his album, which I believe is called El Dorado, but there was a little bit of snifferoo here. That song was called
Give a Little Love.
Give a Little Love, and I just want you to give a little love, okay? I want you to give a little love as well for Mr. Captain Jack Sparrow here from StayWeird.tv. Now, if there was one thing that you would like to get through inertia, through what you've learned through these people, what is something that you would like to impart to people with what you're doing?
To be curious about people, you know, instead of like I said, it's a bit strange, but I see someone who looks a bit different in the streets. I'll wait till you film this.
Yeah, man, please.
But I see someone who looks a bit different in the streets, and my immediate reaction is now that I want to talk to them and ask them about that.
Because they look different.
Yeah, well, because they probably live a unique life compared to everyone else, you know? Whatever that may be. Someone without a leg or a disability, or even just someone dressed a bit funky, you know? It's just be curious instead of immediately be like, oh, no. I'm like, everyone pulls away generally instead of asking like, yo, what's up? Like, how did you arrive to be this person, you know? Why are you doing this? Like, what makes you you? You know, how interesting. You know, what happened to your arm? Oh, I fucking got hit by a bus when I was 7 years old. Met this dude yesterday. One leg, rides BMX as a professional. Julian, shout out Julian, you're a legend. And I'm like, what happened to your leg? And he's like, I got hit by a bus when I was 7 years old. You know, and they're very comfortable talking about it. I think a lot of people don't give other people the respect they deserve because everyone's too reserved, you know, and afraid to ask, and they're not curious. Yeah, so be curious.
Oh, man. This is the same ish that I tell my uni students. Get curious, children of the corn. Get out. I mean, I think it's very surprising, the lack of curiosity, and I wonder where that comes from. Do you blame, what do you chalk it up to? Do you blame society? Do you blame parents, or a mixture of everything?
Well, I think it's a natural thing. Like, we're all quite like, everyone wants to be in their own group, you know, feel safe and secure, and not venture out of that. So I think that, at least coming from Australia, that's a big thing, you know? Yeah.
I guess I've always just been curious about everything.
Yeah.
And maybe that's being a twin, maybe that's being a mixed race kid. But I wonder, and this is the last question, well, one of the last, but do you think that the digital AI world that we've moved into has just started eliminating that curiosity from people because there's no need to just ping, pong, boom,
I think people definitely need to get out and experience life a bit more. I think the applications, even with just meeting people, I think it's all become way too easy. You know, it's like, oh shit,
dating's so easy.
Yeah, delete the applications. Delete the applications. I say. Yeah. Go to it. Take it old school. Ain't no school like the old school. And it's like, it's way more organic and way more beautiful when you meet people this way.
And that's what we want, especially when we're moving into a new year.
Yeah.
Last question: what is the one thing that you desire for, would like to manifest for your own 2025?
Full time will stay weird for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So we're going to help you do that.
Love it.
All right, Children of the Corn, this was Captain Jack Sparrow here from StayWeird.tv. Now remember, you can catch all of his good stuff in ditties, and I mean scores and scores and scores of incredible, funny, sometimes tear-jerking interviews on Instagram at StayWeird.tv, or for my familia aquí, Stay Weird. Weird is raro, is W-W-E-E-R-D, StayWeird.tv. Thank you so much for being here, man. We're going to have you on later on in the year.
Gracias, hermano.
Blowing up. Now, Children of the Corn, we're going to leave you with one little song as we do a little switcheroo for the Velvet Room that's flowing into here. And this is by some of my people. This is Brooklyn Funk Essentials with another classic called The Creator. Whoever that creator is for you has a master plan. And she does. We'll be right back in 4 minutes, kids. And remember, StayWeird.tv. Stay weird. Keep
Stay weird, motherfuckers. Let's go.
No, this is the sound of jazz roots and rhythm and blues that niggas can't refuse. Brooklyn Funk Essentials, step on it.
now then, just to keep it cold.
Yes, because
Unless
it's
you're
also
gonna open-
representing my other favorite country, one of them. Oh, my beautiful people. Remember, you can follow that beautiful Captain Jack Sparrow at stayweird.tv. Again, he's just racking up the new followers and such beautiful people. In fact, he did interview some people that we've had here on the show, and it was just out of fluke. But something is brewing out to the side of me, I tell you, dearies. That's my terrible, I don't know what accent that is. It's my fake northern accent. Sir Yodé of the Velvet Room is joining us again after, I don't know, it's been at least 1 to 2 years, right? When were you here? Sometime last year in 23.
Yeah, it's like 2.5 years now.
It's
It'll be
been-
3 years in May next year. Time.
Darling, time flies when you're having fun. And Sir Yodé is joining us here. He's also, I brought a bottle of Cuvée Cotigny. He brought champagne. Okay. So, what would Jesus do? I think Jesus would open up the champagne, right?
That's right.
I mean, he is the reason for the season.
Yeah. And it did turn water into
But
wine.
my sister from another mister's here too. Lady Towy is back from Berlin
Hello.
and Asia and everywhere
Yeah.
she's been. So she's been
Other
all over the
places.
world. And now, so it's been a few months. It's been approximately about 8 or 9 months since you were here.
Yes.
Because it was in the springtime,
the
then the
last
summer.
Fashion Cares push.
Popped out, and now we're all back together celebrating the end of 2024. So, with your permission, would you allow me to open up the Perrier?
Darling, pop it open,
Yes.
darling. Pop
And now I brought proper crystal for us to do as well.
I know.
Yes.
And because Lady T has chosen a new life for 2024,
I know, right?
Really dramatic.
she's dramatically thrown herself into
And
aging
dramatically.
backwards.
Yes, yes.
Into
This is
aging
the plan.
backwards.
Passing for 25.
Now, of course, there are two people in here who have melanin the way God in Madison Avenue intended, and then there's one who has half-cast melanin.
There you go.
And that whole, Spanish Jew thing. So, but we're chosen. And, but also, the reason why we're all here together today, celebrating and talking about some of the stuff that we want to talk about for 2024 as we round into 2025, is also because the annual NYE Bash is going on at the Velvet Rooms, kicking off at 9 o'clock until question mark. Basically, until Yodé says, get the hell out of my play.
Correct that, from 11 p.m. till 4 a.m.
11 to...
11 till 4.
11.
11 till 4 a.m.
Why did I think it was 9?
I don't know.
Okay. I want to make sure on the website that it's 11. Okay, because I swear to God, 11 to 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be there to the last drop, children. So, in honor of that and the beautiful country from which he hails, we're going to pop this open. It's going to be very easy for me to pop open. It's going to be very easy for me to pop open.
Nice twists. Slow movements.
It's straight up with a twist.
There you go.
Hallelujah. Now we're also going to do one for my sister.
I'm prepping
She's not drinking alcohol. Now, Lady T, because the last time you were here, you were drunk off your ass. No, I'm just kidding. I am not. I am
All of
lying.
us,
I am lying.
Just some of it.
No. I'm totally lying. We were actually repping reputable things.
Yes.
But when did you choose to go a little bit more
I didn't really choose. I
Holistic.
just woke up thinking, you know what? I don't want a hangover, especially if the hangover lasts for 3 or 4 days now, or 5 days. And I also realized that when I was in my 20s, waking up with a
5 years
hangover.
ago,
Yes,
yes.
5 years ago. Six. Be realistic.
Okay.
It was like, oh, I'm so tired. Now, in my real age, at 49, I wake up with the hangover and a depression.
A depression
And
as
yes,
well.
it's like a weird depression that I don't want to revisit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like that feeling of gloom and I'm wasting a day in bed. And it usually lasts as long as my hangover, which is 3, 4, 5 days. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, so I have to accept it. And also, I just like feeling fresh, and it's addictive, and I don't want to lose that feeling of feeling sharp and waking up early and just bright eye and bushy tail.
See, that's why I do loads of cocaine. And I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. And anyone who knows me knows that that is a damn joke, for heaven's sake. But you just wake up and, good morning, world.
It's amazing.
Everything turns into a Simpsons episode. I totally hear that. And we're going to do a ching-ching for holistic living and keeping it manifesting into what we want to be.
See.
And so whether you do it with or without alcohol, please keep it under wraps. The Greek golden mediation, everything in moderation, please, children of the corn. And blessings for everybody. L'chaim and happy Christmas Kwanzaa to everyone. Now, let's get fucked up. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You know, it's funny. I completely relate to everything that you're saying. But I've always found that I've always been looking for something to prop me up because, like, I don't do any drugs. I've never smoked in my life, nothing. So I feel like if I give up alcohol, I've got absolutely nothing to give me that little high that I need. The problem is obviously knowing when to stop, which is like you, I don't know how to stop. And that depression the next day, I have it exactly like you.
Yeah.
And it
It's
does
different.
last. It lasts me at least 2 days. It's horrid. And each time I'd say I'm never drinking again. But then as soon as it's gone, it's like a woman having a child. They go through horrendous childbirth. And they go, I'm never having a child again. Within a year, they're like, I need to have another child.
Yeah.
For me, it's almost the same with alcohol. I just forget the pain of the... I don't want to compare this to, and I hope no women out there are offended because having a child is serious business.
Amen.
And the pain of going through a childbirth, no man can go through that. But you know, the what I'm trying to say is just the way we forget quickly the pain of whatever it is, no matter how light.
It's funny because I don't miss it.
Yeah.
I don't, go out and think, I should have a glass. I actually don't miss it so far. Maybe next year.
But it's been a few
story.
months now, right?
If I feel like it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But right now, I just
the
don't
Lord
feel
leads.
like it.
If the Lord leads.
Hey, girl, go ahead, have that real cover.
Well, maybe you'll get to the stage where you'd know how to manage it better.
Well, the thing
because
is, I
that's what I'd like
never-
to do.
I don't think I've had a problem with it. Like I can go without, but what I don't want to experience is the hangover.
Yeah.
And I'm just happiest this way. And also, it's a little vanity in there. I don't want to look as if I'm 20 years older than I am.
Yeah.
I don't want the puffiness or the redness besides the blush. I feel really good this way. I don't miss it.
Do you think it's less identifiable sometimes on our more melanin-prone brothers and sisters, Latinos, our African brothers, our Asian brother, where the age just a little bit different because of the melanin than even if you're including the drink? Like, I would never know that you drink at all. Do you know what I mean? And I've never really, at the party we were nicely coated with a lovely coating of
It was contained chaos.
champagne.
Yeah, well, we were counting the bottles the next day, and I thought, all my champagne
Gone.
was gone.
Years of building up the champagne cabinet.
It was gone.
Michael, we're looking at you, Michael.
Where are you, Michael?
I'm kidding. Shout out to homeboy Michael, because we've got somebody who's going to be coming on in a couple of months as well, who's releasing an album in the springtime. So we'll be talking about that on the flip side as well. You know what? We're going to do a little bit of a song here, because I've been discovering, if you get on Tidal and just put on one track or on Spotify, it will just take you into a discovery of things. Like I said an hour and a half ago when we started the show, we're not playing Christmas stuff but top jams of the year. There's no Charlie XCX or Sabrina MF Carpenter today, although I think
I don't
you're
even
cute,
know who
girl.
she is.
But have you ever heard of someone named La Bicifra?
La Bicifra. No.
60s, 70s folk, Afro-American guitarist, God. And this is a song that he wrote in LA called Canic Chase. and I can't. It's 3-4 minutes of pure folk 70s, lovely. Let's drink some kava and eat some croissant. Folks, remember you can catch the Jams live on 106.9 FM and RCE.cat, and we're going to come back to tell you what's going on at the Velvet Room after 11 o'clock on the 31st in just a few days, folks. We'll be right back with Sir Yodé and Lady Towy.
Sitting in the back seat of my car with my arms around my guitar, and the rain falls from the roof of the world. Nothing around, just the trees and the ground. There's a bird in a tree singing his song just for me, just for me. I've been down for oh so long. Seemed like my soul was dead and gone. But it's alright, I'm back in the fight. I thought my day would never come. Maybe it won't, but I'll have fun. And I'll hold tight, 'cause that way it might. La da 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 da. But I'll find out. Maybe if I shout, give me your hand, I'll give you my mind. It's a fair exchange if you're deaf, dumb, and blind. We've sold out. Well, that's what it's all about. La da 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 da.
Labi Cifra. Folks, again, Cifra is spelled Siffre. If you have Tidal, Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff, please look at it. He's Nigerian Brit, so please forgive me for saying he was Afro-British, and he has been making music for 50 years, and he's now 80 years old, and he looks 55. Speaking of that melanin and stuff like that of that nature. Now, let's talk about what's going down, because this year, don't help me with the name, please. DJ Nahuel.
That's correct.
Oh, now But he's also spinning a variation of the funk that Lucas needs to shoot into his veins. How did you find this guy? Please.
Well, I found him through one of my other artists because I have another because he's from Argentina, and I have another Argentinian artist who, I mean, there's a story behind him as well. His name is, you know, the one that I had before. He's now going on holiday to Lucio Dragone.
Yes.
So Lucio Dragone was busking in Veragüe. You know, the metro stop.
Of course.
And my friend Eva, one of my great friends here, Eva, she was walking past and saw him and said, not only is this guy gorgeous, he sounds amazing. So she went back and gave him my number. And he called me that night. And he was at my bar, auditioned for me. I hired him on the spot. He's been working for me for almost 2 years now. And then I was just talking about I need to find a DJ for New Year's Eve. This was last year. Because this is DJ Nakwil's second year with us. And so he gave me his number. I called him. He came over. We talked about what I like, you know, because all the music now, it's all this reggaeton and all this rubbish that's out there. And I wanted somebody who could bring all that
I like to shake my butt.
authentic, lovely 70s, 80s,
But it reminds
90s
me,
disco
butt
funk
move.
that we were so used to growing up. So, and he does it so beautifully. So he was there last year. He was a success. So I asked him again if he'd like to do it again this year. And he said, of course I would. So there you go. That's the story behind DJ Nakwil. Beautiful man too.
One of the things that just flows so fluidly with the Velvet Room BCN, again, located at Carrer Calle Street, Aviation Street, number 9 in Les Corts, and very near the Les Corts Metro, actually, is that there's always a symbiosis of the artists that come on there. Many of them have stayed there now for a couple of years, doing their, you know, weekly and whatnot. That has nothing to do with kava, excuse me. It has everything to do with champagne. Now, when you're dealing with musicians like that of that nature, because it is a champagne jazz lounge, you know, you were able to take it into something that's more esoteric, whether you're experimenting with R&B, whether people are doing a little bit of hip hop, or they're doing electronica. What are some of the influences that you have musically? Because we just talked about the 70s and things of that nature, but
Yes.
then you do all this other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Well, where's the variation coming from, love?
Well, I've been around for a while. You know, I am 58 years old. So
I love how you guys just talk so openly about your ages. I'm 39, everybody.
There
I'm
will be no
39.
lies told.
I've always loved a variety of music. I've always been into music since a young age. In fact, I always wanted to be a singer, you know, an artist. I never quite did that. For me, anything that's soulful, and a lot of music has that soul connection. Anything that's soulful for me, I'm happy to do. So jazz actually came to me later on in life.
Really?
Yeah, even though my bar is predominantly a jazz bar, it came to me very late on. And that was from my travels around the world when I started working for BA all those years ago. And I would fly to New York, to Chicago, would go to New Orleans and everywhere. And I would just walk into these amazing Philadelphia, my goodness, amazing jazz bars. And I always had this dream, like 20-something odd years ago, that I'd love to own a jazz piano bar. And then, of course, I finally did it, plucked the courage, felt the fear, and did it anyway. I read the book, Susan Jeffers. And here we are. So, yeah, for me, anything that touches you, touches the soul. And I find that soulful music, R&B, hip-hop, funk, jazz, of course,
It does it.
and even classical music. You know, I've had some classical music at the bar. It just does it for me. It really does.
There's actually a world-renowned pianist who is looking to do some shows in 2025. He just did one in Marseille and in, not Nice, and Aix-en-Provence.
Oh.
And he'd like to come to Spain, and so we need to talk. We did mention it earlier.
Oh, yes, you
A couple
did.
months ago, he ended
Yes.
up only doing France and then going back to Japan.
You did.
And he's coming back. And so it's that classical element of things that the music for you, it actually brings us an element of relaxation. It's almost like David playing the harp for King Saul. when you walk into, and folks, again, when you walk into the Velvet Room, you do feel like, oh my God, everything here costs 50 euros a glass. And it is elegance at the affordability that you deserve. And that's what's so beautiful. On top of the good freaking food that they make over there. Hold on, let me take a drink because I'm getting hungry and we will have to eat some more. I was going to say something else. We're going to have to eat some more croissant in just a minute. One of the things that we always ask our beautiful guests to do is to bring some music, and so our family has done that. They have done that for us and made life a little bit easier. We're going to jump into Kool and the Gang. Si stave Signor Liam, with Kool and the Gang and Good Times. Instead of the other one, yeah, Jesus wants me to drink a little more wine. And we're going to throw back into the 70s. I mean, Jesus made wine. He converted water into it. So we're going to do a 3.5-minute ditty of a total flashback with my boys from Kool and the Gang. And we'll be right back to talk about some pleasantries like elections and Taylor Swift. We'll be right back, folks. 106.9 FM here in Catalonia and RCE.cat all around the world.
Are you ready?
What's happening, man?
Good times on my mind.
School is out. Summertime.
Good times are on my mind.
School is out and the summertime.
People on the beaches playing in the sand.
Get down.
Getting
What
up
you say?
and away. People catching trains and on their way.
Buses and trains and whatever you say, baby.
The moon is out for the lovers tonight. Get down. Get on down.
Okay, that was Cool in the Gang. That was not the Celebrate Good Times that we were thinking about, but it was a fun
another
song called Good
celebration.
Times by Cool in the Gang. And that's just a snippet of the kind of jams, although it's probably going to be speeded up to about 140 beats per minute on the 31st, because is happening. And frankly, we need all that we can get, because in approximately 4 weeks from today, on January 20th, everyone's favorite orange piece of shit is going to be entering into the White House for the second time. Now, we have a man of Nigerian British origin who can gladly stay the hell out of the U.S. and point at us and say, y'all motherfuckers need Jesus. Apparently, a bunch of Jesus freaks voted for Donald Trump. In fact, I'm just going to say down the hatch, the majority of the population, if we're looking at it respectively from population control, is white folk and Latino men really gave him the vote. Okay? So that's the way that cookie crumbles in a very generic sense. It was truly a plurality of white brothers and sisters and specific Latino men. Latino women, black men, black women, Asian men. No, they voted for her. It wasn't enough. What's interesting is that last time, in the last elections in 2020 between Biden and Trump, 67% of the entire voting population that could vote went to vote. Do you know what it was this time? Do you know what it was this time? Not even 54% of the population went to vote. Just over half. 13% less. 80 million people in that country who could vote did not vote. And for 1.4 million people at 1.4% and 1 million people, she lost the vote. Popular and electorally. What is your concern as we move into this next 4 years, Lady T?
Well, it's sad that people would rather stay home than use their right to vote, but it also says a lot about how the general population feels.
How do you think they feel?
Maybe a sense of ennui, because Kamala Harris, she lost the popular vote as well. Right? To me, that says more than anything. We can sit here and talk about, the Electoral College and so forth, but she lost the popular vote. So that says what it says. People would rather have this person in the office than someone with experience. You may not agree with everything, but you cannot disregard the years of work she's put into this. And the things that, and the things that people had an issue with, were they really true, or was it just another example of the media or people on their Instagram or whatever posting nonsense that they don't know much about? But I will say this. I'm a liberal. I don't really like to define myself when it comes to politics. I like to say that I use I like to use common sense, and I would like to be objective.
Pragmatism, totally.
And I am not someone to say, they're Republicans, they cannot come to my party. Everyone's invited in my home, and I also think that. Maybe last year, if you would say, if someone's a Trump supporter, maybe I would have been one of those people to say, no, we can't be friends. Now I want to understand. I want to talk. Yeah. Why? Obviously, something hit a nerve. And if I were to be truly objective, when you look at the campaign, to step in at the last minute and
for
put
2.5
all of that
months.
together.
It was flawless.
It was, yes and no.
In which way?
Yeah.
But I
please.
go ahead.
Well, I don't know if you guys read the Bernie Sanders. You sent it
The
to me,
podcast.
actually.
He said exactly
I think
what I
that
wanted to
if
say.
anybody read that, I think we don't even need to have a conversation because it says everything. And it's one thing trying to diss Trump and all the bad things that's coming to America, but if you don't deliver, if you don't focus and deliver to the people what you're going to do for them, that people are just, and I think if you talk about the people that didn't actually vote at all, I think they didn't vote because they were disenfranchised. They just thought none of these people are going to You know,
Sit it
and a lot
out.
of people, even though Kamala came again, she came in at the end where she didn't have enough time to really do her campaign properly. But I think a lot of people just had this focus on Joe Biden. And of course, Joe Biden, sadly, no matter how much you like or dislike him, he performed terribly in the interviews. And then he had his own shit, excuse my language,
Cognitive.
hanging around him with his son and his drug, this and all the rest of it. And people just get, they're all criminals, they're all
Right.
crooks. And at the end, and you said something really important about we need to stop. I think generations of people vote for a party just because we are this kind of people and we must always vote Democratic or this, oh, don't vote Republican. Again, like you, I'm very objective. Like in the United Kingdom, I'm a conservative. And the leader now of the Conservative Party is a black Nigerian woman. It's unheard of. I mean, it's unheard of. As a black gay man, I'll be expected to vote the Labour Party, which is the equivalent of your Democratic Party.
See.
But I think of what does the country actually need? And I see the Labour Party as a great party who've done a lot of things for black people, gay people, workers' rights. Then the Conservatives realized, shit, we need to step up. And they've taken it further. And now gay people can get married in the churches. They brought so many sweeping things and swept away all the crap that Margaret Thatcher came in, Clause 28 against gay people, blah, blah, blah. And it's about people just want the person that they think can deliver, regardless of what you think about that person. Hence, you could have asked yourself, why did the Latino men vote for Trump? Why did they vote for Trump?
Misinformation.
Misinformation. But a lot of what I'm hearing, because I'm talking from an objective point of view, I don't have any vested interest in the United States of America. But people are telling me time and time again that as much as they don't like Trump and what he stands for and all these scandals, they felt economically better under his term in office than they've ever felt under the Democrats.
This is where Lucas has to step in because it's a lie. And the thing is, when Trump came in, because people are not informed, he was getting 7 years, 28 fiscal quarters of complete growth. That's what he took over. When Obama took over, he was getting 8 years of shit and 13 trillion of debt that Bush gave him. Obama turns over the highest economy in the world at the time in 2017. All systems nominal. The only legislation that Trump passed that first year was a tax break for the top 11%, specifically the top 1.1%. There was no trickle down. By 2018, we're involved in a sanctions war with China. By 2019, we had arrested the vice president of Huawei, which is the daughter of the owner of China. We were in a sanctions war, and then 7 months later, we were in the pandemic. And for the first 15 months of the pandemic, that's what Trump took over, where we had 5,000 people dying a day, our economy in shambles, and he kept saying, standing on his promise of, were you better off 4 years ago in November of 2020 when 5,000 people were dying a day and we had all our companies closed? And people were like, yeah, we were better. With this stinking thinking that, wait a minute, the economy of 2017 was what Obama gave us. 2018 floated, but then he closed. Remember, he closed the country down twice. One time for 2 months during the holidays where all our TSA agents, all our police officers, everybody's working but not getting paid. That's when Nancy Pelosi took over. In the 4 years that Nancy Pelosi took over, they passed over 300 bills in a divided Congress. In the last 2 years, with the Congress controlled by the Senate, by the Republicans, they passed 30. 90% less of bills and legislation. And 15 of them were renaming things, like renaming a force base that was based on a Confederate agency. Shit like that. Nothing was happened. Hunter Biden may have done some illegal things or some things that were, untoward. That's not his father that was doing that. They never could prove anything. And so, yes, one thing that I don't think that they did well during the Kamala thing was not focusing, I'm going to do this, this, and this. She did talk about it and going over the corporates to lower the prices of food and stuff like that. But I think it's foolhardy to think that U.S. government can control the fruit and vegetables that's going into Vermont.
and
That-
inflation, that
inflation is the thing.
right, but
What caused it?
Yeah.
The pandemic.
Right.
The fact that we have so much that's been relied on to China since the 80s to produce for us, that when China stopped for a year and a half, because we will never know how many millions or more died in China. They won't tell us. They had no production going out for a year and a half. And finally in 22, they started it again. But that was 2 years that we hadn't had the same production element going up. And of course that goes up. But on top of that, there was shrinkflation, where the companies like Nestle, like Kimberly-Clark, like what have you, Boots, take the normal product that they've been serving, they give it to you in a slightly small, it's 1 centimeter, you're never going to notice, but it's 50 cents more, 45 cents more for less product. That's what shrinkflation is. That's what's been going on for the last 3 years. And of course, that has truly been a mind F for the fact of the war in Ukraine and the war in Israel. Because so much production of warheads and money goes into that. Remember, every federal country in the West spends more money on defense and military than anything else,
Which is incredible.
including Spain. And so that kind of stuff, when you don't know this information, we don't realize that during the Biden and Harris administration, child poverty has been cut by over 45% since 2021. 45%. There are half less people in the country who are dealing with child poverty than there were 4 years ago. And all of that's going to change the minute in January 20th.
yeah, but education is the main word here.
He's cutting the Board of Education. That's his idea.
No, we know that. But firstly, we have a problem with short-term memory. You know,
All those weed smokers. No.
we have a problem with education. I'm not talking about school education, but just understanding the system and paying attention to it
And teaching proper history.
and teaching proper history. We have a huge problem there. And I would say for this campaign, for this year, it felt, for lack of a better word, basic, you know, because we had all of the social issues that are very important to all of us sitting in this room. You know, all social issues pertaining to gender, race, they are important, you know, because they all affect me personally, you know, but
When the price of eggs is $9.
that's going to trump
Yeah.
everything. And this
Terrible
is-
word, but yes. Trump everything.
Condoms are
word,
now
but-
too.
right.
You know? But I think at times, if I, can self critique a bit when it comes to our party, sometimes I feel that we are elitists and that we talk down. Because if you talk to any normal person in my family, myself, I want to know, am I going to be able to put food on my table? Forget about all this other stuff. They're all important. But am I going to survive financially? That is the number one thing that I felt we could have talked a bit more about or honed in on a bit more.
I think they need to start doing it now, because what we're going to find out, in my opinion, is
Yeah.
the tariffs. If he's going to be putting 25 to 60% tariffs on everything coming in from out of sight, when 80% of our avocados come from Mexico, when 45% of our material to build construction comes from Canada, because they have less contaminated environmental trees to cut down, actually. And so 45%, when you're going to put 40% tariffs on all the construction and metal coming from Canada, 80% on an avocado is going to cost €9, as much as that box of 12 dozen eggs.
Which is already expensive.
And
before
okay,
that.
so then people aren't thinking that, because Trump is, again, disinforming people, saying that they're going to pay it. Yeah, they're going to pay it. We're going to have to pay to take the stuff off the
stuff
boat.
off the boat.
And then we have to, we're going to lower the prices for you, consumer. No, we're going to jack it up in cada mes, including more. And people are going to, you know what MSNBC panelists keep saying, you effed around and now you're going to find out.
But you're right. And this is another critique. We need to start talking about this now. you know,
And not stop.
splintering off and focusing on things.
With
other
President
things.
Elon Musk coming into town.
Yeah.
We are the one thing I would say about the Republicans or the conservatives, you know, when they have a focus, whether it's evil or not,
And it usually is.
it is, but they get together
Yeah.
to push that evil plan
They
out.
deliver it.
You know,
They fall in line. And what does it say? I'm going to quote Obi-Wan Kenobi, then we're going to jump into some Sister Sledge, because Lord. But what does it say about that? Who is the more foolish? The fool who's doing all of this evil plotting, or the fools who vote and follow the fool?
Yeah. Because what people don't want is rhetoric. They don't want people who are just going to come and say very nice, flowery things and not deliver. And the problem I think that the Democrats or the Labour Party we have in the UK has, they mean so well and they really care about the working class people, but they promise things that they cannot deliver.
And why can't they deliver?
Well, they're in power. So when they're in power, they've said, look, now we have the Labour Party now, the first time in power in like almost 20 odd years, because they've been there. So they've already pissed off all the farmers, because what they do is they raise taxes, they take money from middle class people to just keep feeding the poor people. And that's not the solution necessarily either, because people like me, you, and you, who are middle class people, are the ones who suffer. I'm not saying don't help the poor, but you need the income of the middle class, which is
The majority
Yes.
of the population.
You need to support the middle class, and they don't. They go after.
But the rich don't, I mean, the right don't either. They really don't look at the poor and support the middle. They'll
Yeah.
take over the upper middle class maybe and the upper echelon. So what with this idea since the 80s with Thatcher and Reagan of trickle-down economics, which didn't work.
Yeah.
And so at some point, I think the only basis on a political and a pragmatic level is you have to learn as a center lefty to
Yeah.
vote for everybody, to work for
Yeah.
everybody,
Yeah.
not just your constituent voters if you're the far left or the far right,
Yeah.
which is what tends to happen. Because we are motherfucking family and we need the 100%
Right.
Yeah.
to be taken
And
care
this
of.
is our problem. We're not doing
Exactly.
So just quick to say, because so for example, in the UK with the Labour government, they just see if you've got money, you have money, and you're going to keep paying for everyone. But they don't think about actually what kind of money do you have. There are people who are asset rich, and there are people who are cash rich. So the farmers are asset rich. They have these farms they've inherited for generations. They're producing the food that the country eats. They're actually subsidized by the government because they just can't sustain everything. So the government's now said you have to pay inheritance tax on your farms, which they haven't done for centuries. And you'll think, yeah, that's logical. Everybody pays inheritance tax. But the point is, if you've got a farm that's worth 10 million or something, but your cash that you're getting is actually very little, when you die and your kids have to then pay inheritance tax, they have to get rid of that farm because they wouldn't be able to have the cash to pay it.
liquid. Yeah.
And there is something
They have
about...
to, and that's terrible. That's dangerous.
That is also part of the historical backlash of what happened in 1830 until 2016 when actually Boris Johnson stopped it. But from 1830 to 2016, reparations were paid for the slave labor that was stopped. For 276 years. And all of 1830, 1930, 176 years. And all the money of reparations that were paid to the farmers. Not one black slave in the UK ever got paid reparations.
Yeah.
For 176 years, the UK government has given all those reparations, those kickbacks, only to the farmers who lost the
farmers.
slaves.
Yeah.
So
Incredible.
part of me feels, oh, poor farmers, and part of me feels, what did you do those other 200 and 300 years when you were getting the kickback from the
Kickback
government?
from
Now,
the
Boris
government.
Johnson, the conservative, stopped that. So I will say that's one thing. We're going to throw in another ditty. This is Sister Sledge, the only disco outfit to win Best New Artist in the 70s from the Grammys. And this is We Are Family. We'll be right back in 3 minutes.
wonders they say, can they be that close? Just let me state for the record, we're giving love in a family dose. We are family. Hey, I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. Sing it to me. We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. Living life is fun, and we've just begun to get our share of this world's delight. High hopes we had for the future and our goals in sight. We know we don't get depressed. Here's what we call our golden rule. Have faith in you and the things you do. You won't go wrong. Oh no, this is our family jewel. We are family. Sing it to me. I got all my sisters with me. Sing it to me. We are family. I can hear you guys. Get up, everybody, and sing. Ooh, we have faith in you and the things you do.
All right, folks. So we are going to start wrapping it up in here. It's already hitting 12:59, everybody. But thank you so much again for my boy Yodé and Lady T for being here, because we just solved the world's crisis as we move into 2025. Speaking of the world's crisis, one of the things that we've been doing here now for 3 years, and Lady T is actually one at the helm of it, is Fashion Cares BCN. Every February or March, we throw a massive bash where all the proceeds go to supporting women, an organization of women here who have been abused, neglected, some of them out of jail, and are restarting their lives, and all the proceeds go to that. We are going to be kicking that off again as the winter finalizes and the spring commences. And so we've got a lot of new stuff coming up about that will be popping up, and we'll be having people here throughout certainly January and February talking about that as well. So I want to give a mad shout about that coming up in 2025. That's going to be the 2nd of March as well. And on the 31st, in just 4 bloody days, not even 28, 29, 30, 30, 3 days, there's going to be the huge annual New Year's Eve bash at Velvet Room and Carrer Aviación, number 9, near Les Corts, near Les Corts Metro. And we're going to be kicking that shit off at 11 o'clock, and it's going to be lit, dope, and fun until 4 p.m. or until, Christ tells us to close the doors.
Tickets you can find on our website directly, so you can buy tickets directly on our website, and it includes a drink, so there'll be nibbles as well.
Okay.
And we're going to be partying our socks up. I'll be in my high heels and dancing that night away.
I would be in my dancing shoes and something sparkly.
And Lady T's going to be manning the thing, and as she works in fashion, she's going to see how you checked out. I'm going to be the door bitch. She's the door queen. She's the door queen.
Yes.
Also, again, those tickets can be found online through the Velvet Room as well. All week for the next 3 days, actually today and until the 31st, we're going to be putting up links as well through Instagram and Facebook, so you can click on our links on the Club with Lucas and RCE as well, and it's going to go right to there to get those tickets as well. And those tickets, I believe, are $35. They include nibbles, drinks, too much music, and vibes out the mother effing wazoo. Every year it just gets more and more hype and dope, so I do recommend you coming out to Carrer number 9 Aviación in Les Corts, number 5 in Les Corts, and that is at the Velvet Room BCN. So Yodé, Lady T, thank you so much for winding out 2024 with me. Now we are going to close out with one more song. This is something that we threw in right at the last minute, and this is Lady T's choice. In fact, I chose it and we threw it in just in time. It's called, but this is another outfit called Nikki and the Dubs.
Yes.
And this is Ode to the Dance Floor, because that's what we're going to be doing on the 31st. So we will see you there. Power to the people, folks. We're off next week. We will be emitting this as we celebrate Reyes, and then we'll be back here for fresh stuff in 2025 on the 11th. We love you. Remember, you are loved. Work on your inner child this year, folks. That's what we need to be improving. And we will see you on the 11th of January and on the 31st in the Velvet Room. Bye. We love you. Have a beautiful New Year's, everyone.
We love you.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.